And we are back. A very good morning and hope you had a fantastic night of sleep. Euro dollar is the first pair we'll be analyzing today. So euro dollar is still ranging beautifully between that 75% mark and the 25% mark over here. As we can clearly see, not moving anywhere for now. And this is why I am staying out of euro dollar, guys. As I explained in yesterday's video, we are just ranging, and pretty much the videos before that, we're not really moving anywhere. It's super risky to take trades, and this is exactly why. So pretty much the 75% mark is from where you want to sell. The 50% mark is also a clear area of support and resistance, as we can see, and that 25% mark is where you want to be buying. Now, going in towards the lower time frame, because again, if you look at this 4-hour time frame, are you going to be buying? Are you going to be selling? We don't know. The market can move anywhere at this moment in time. Obviously, we have grabbed liquidity underneath this low. However, the daily is still bearish, and the daily is obviously coming with a V-shaped reaction towards the downside. So there is a lot of bearish momentum, and we do want to preferably see this lower zone get touched, because there isn't really a lot of demand left in this area to, let's say, catapult price back in towards the highs. Obviously, when we have an area of consolidation, we do expect a big impulse in either direction after a certain amount of time, because consolidation provides us with a clear, let's call it, ranging opportunity to see the market explode in either direction. So the perfect example obviously is over here, range, boom, rocketing towards the highs. Over here, range, boom, rocketing towards the highs. So every time you see a range, and the bigger the range gets, more likely the bigger the impulse will be. So there's going to be some fireworks very, very soon in either direction. But obviously the hardest part is then guessing in which direction the market is going to head, right? So how can we kind of get a timing on that and, let's say, get our assumptions right? Well, obviously, if we look at the daily time frame, it is more logic that we do head further in towards the downside. The daily is still swing bearish from this high in towards this low. We have this area of supply. We saw that V-shaped reaction. So I would preferably want to see that further downside now commence. But that is that. Now going in towards 15, there are obviously some opportunities which we can trade on the lower time frame, because price action will be slightly more clear from there. So over here on the 15-minute time frame, we know we're coming from that 25% mark, right? So there is a probability that we are going to move back in towards that 75% mark. However, for that to happen, we need to break the supply chain. Because overall, what we can see is that once we had this bullish IBOS over here, so from this low in towards this high, we were bullish, and the swing structure from this low in towards this high was also bullish. So then what we can do is look for longs from either this demand zone or this demand zone. However, what do you need to see when you're looking for a long? You need to see the overall momentum shift in towards your favor. So what we were seeing very, very clearly, once again, was a buy before the sell. So over here, a buy before the sell, market comes back in over here and then drops back in towards the downside. So then again, we had a buy before the sell, market comes back in, drops back down again. We had a buy before the sell, comes back in, moves back out again. So then again, over here we had a buy. So this is your entire buy before the sell. Market comes back in, moves back out again. So we're currently stuck inside of this buy before the sell over here. So this zone, this buy before the sell, that's what we're stuck in. So I'm only going to be interested in longs once we break this zone or this high over here. So pushing towards the highs, then one more push down, breaking all the lows over here. So there's a lot of liquidity beneath these lows, and then tapping towards that zone, and then, for example, pushing towards the upside and start longing from that 25% mark region. That is the only long that I see. If you want to look for shorts, obviously we'll need to kind of see that internal trend shift bullish. Then at a certain point, once we hit that 75% mark, then again wait for that bearish shift in momentum, and then the order flow to shift as well, and then sell from that 75% mark back down towards that 25% mark. So that is the alternative strategy that I use over here for this range on euro dollar. So Aussie dollar, what is happening over there? What we can see over here is obviously pretty much the same. And the only difference with euro dollar is that the internal trend from this high in towards this low is kind of like a push down, a pullback, and then you would favor like that further downside continuation. However, the big difference is obviously that the fractal structure is much more clear. So we had this fractal break high, bullish from this high in towards this low. What has now happened so that we've eliminated the lows, and I'll show this in a second on the lower time frame. But yeah, overall it does look slightly better for that further upside over here. We haven't really tapped that 25% mark, so let me just remove that once again. Looking at Aussie dollar overall, I mean, 4-hour swing structure is still bullish. From this low all the way in towards this high over here, we can clearly be seen that we're at the 50% mark of that overall swing range. We've tapped in towards demand, so now you would want to be looking for longs after liquidating that low. The daily as well is bullish, so therefore you would be more interested in those longs. Now going down lower in towards the 15-minute, because on the 15-minute is obviously where you can start looking for those entries. The 15-minute has been bullish swing structure wise, so from this low in towards this high. Price has been forming a lot of internal structure over here. That's all those eye bosses. But now what we've seen this morning is a break of this internal high. So we're now bullish on the internal structure, but also on the swing structure. But now what needs to happen is for us to be provided with an entry. So what I'm waiting for is either a push down in towards this demand zone, then a shift in the order flow to get those bullish longs, or otherwise what I'll wait for is a break of this high, and then again retracement in towards demand, and then a further long opportunity in line with the overall internal trend and the overall swing trend. And then obviously also in line with the overall 4-hour swing structure and the overall 4-hour fractal structure, despite the 4-hour internal structure, by the way, being bearish. So that 4-hour internal structure is from this high in towards this low, but the 4-hour fractal structure, when we focus on wicks, is bullish, swing structure is bullish, and obviously we're at the EQ, so I'm happy to look for those longs if they are provided. Now moving on in towards pound dollar. So pound dollar over here, as you guys know, I was looking to see, can we grab the liquidity above these highs, tap in towards this supply. Didn't really see any bullish momentum come in, so no obvious entries. For the rest, what I'm now looking at is this potential 4-hour area of demand over here with this clear liquidity low right above it. So what I would now favor is to see it tapping towards there, and then, for example, a reversal in towards that higher supply zone, grabbing liquidity above these highs. That low is also located inside the overall 25% mark, because again guys, a very obvious range, but that low is coincides with the 25% mark over here, and the high coincides with that 75% mark over there. So that's what I'm looking for on pound dollar, the only setup that I see and the only long that I will take. And if we're here, then I'll obviously be looking for those shorts. Moving on in towards Kiwi dollar, so NZDUSD. So NZDUSD is, I would say, one of the most dirty pairs at the moment. Really not moving anywhere, just a barcode in towards the sideways. Overall, looking at the 15-minute time frame, can we identify any potential trading opportunities? Not really. I mean, the 15-minute is still bearish theoretically from this high in towards this low. So you want to be preferably looking for shorts. So there were some opportunities, I would say, yesterday morning. Overall, we broke kind of like this uptrend in towards the highs, this ascending channel, broke in towards the downside. We had a clear liquidity high positioned over here, and we then pushed up higher pretty much in towards the entire buy before the sell over here, then reacted in towards the downside. We got that change of character. Let me just zoom in for you guys. We got that change of character over here on this low. So we broke that low over here, and then we formed some supply in this, let's say, extreme candle, and from there we started crashing in towards the downside. If you didn't like that first entry, then obviously you had like another entry over here where you could have taken that short from on the second change of character. But yeah, then again, you get tagged in. But let's see, would you have hit your target for a 1, 2, 3? Yeah, you would have. So that would have been a nice entry over there. But for the rest, I mean, obviously we are still in a very messy range, but that's the 15 minutes. So I would just continue to look for shorts in towards the downside on NZDUSD for the rest. But yeah, I mean, again, just keep in mind the 4 hour is very, very messy. But overall, I mean, yeah, what can we say? Just skip trading these barcodes mainly is my advice. Moving on in towards gold. So let's see, gold did do something beautiful yesterday, and that was tap in towards this 4 hour area of supply as we expected. So now I am still looking for that further downside. Only thing obviously is that we are also moving a little bit sideways, but I would like to see for the downside. We have this liquidity open underneath this low, and we still have this fresh area of demand. So I am still looking to see if we can get further shorts. This was the first shorting opportunity in towards the downside, so keep your eyes open for that. We could potentially grab that liquidity. So yeah, I mean, at the moment, what we are seeing is that we have a break of this overall kind of ascending price action in towards the downside. Broke this low, liquidity resting above the high over here. That was last night during Asia session. We just missed out on this buy before the sell. Otherwise, I would have been looking for a short if this was a London session or New York. But for now, what we're looking for is, again, a shift in momentum, because what's now happened for me is a shift in the market structure. So it does look like we could potentially still move a little bit higher here on the 15-minute in towards higher supply zones over here, for example, or these ones, which I pointed out in yesterday's videos. And then we'll just wait for that bearish momentum again to kick in, and then we'll just trade the overall bearish price action back in towards the downside. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Sorry for my cold, still a little bit sick, but I hope you guys enjoyed, and wish you all a very profitable day. Thanks.